Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Stephen A. Williams, president and founder of thecreditrepairshop.com. In today's video, we're going to be talking about some things that I see happening in the market. Stocks, all types of stuff is just slamming right now. I was finishing, we had our meeting, and I had to have another meeting about some more stuff with debt validation. That's what we're going to get into. I was proven right once again by the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, and I'm going to go over that in this video real quick about debt validation. I've been telling people to do it this way, and they just released a document on the requirements for 2022 for debt collectors. Like, they have to do this specific type of debt validation, which was something that a lot of people did not know about. The credit repair companies didn't know about it. Some attorneys didn't even know about it, about that this was something that you can require them to do. But now what they've done is they've updated it and gave notice to the debt collectors that you can't disregard this when someone asks for a full debt validation of a debt or verification. You might see it said two ways, but man, I was looking at my stocks. A high of last year in July of 200, and it says $236,000. This is just where my wife and I invest just into straight companies, stuff that we believe are good investments, and we worked up a small account from, shows here, $8,000 all the way up over a few years to $236,000, and as of today, it has shrunken back down under $100,000. And you might be saying, well, we should have got out. There were times where we got out and we bought back in. So it's it's kind of skewed on the amount of money that we made. But still, regardless, the market is going down. And I want to briefly talk about I'm not giving advice on what you should do. I'll tell you what my thinking is, what my wife and I's thinking is, because we had a family meeting yesterday where we talked about, should we pull everything out and then just wait to get back in? The companies are good, but right now you have inflation that's tearing up stuff. You had a war, you had interest rates increases that are happening, and it just makes all of this a problem for the stock market. People are taking their money out and putting it in the bonds and other types of stuff. If you look back at the history, though, and what I had said to myself was, what had happened back in 2008 if I would have just went stronger on investments, which I didn't. I went strong on real estate, buying and selling properties after 2008. And I was thinking, if I would have just went just as strong with investing in good companies, when it went back up, it would have probably made a couple of $1 million. But the thing is like right now, everybody's running scared. Everybody don't know what to do. People got debt. Like, it's just like, what do I do? And what my wife and I decided to do is like, when stuff like this happens, you gotta think. You can't be emotional. You have to think, and you can kind of estimate that things are gonna go all the way down before they start to go back up. And if you kind of do your numbers on the potential on what you could have when things go back up, it could really be life-changing. But the thing is that you have to do it with companies that are legitimate. It can't be these fake companies, penny stock, this and that, all that those types of companies that are just scam type companies. It has to be legitimate companies. And I can tell you my lineup, I don't have anything to hide. My lineup of stocks before we get into the debt validation, just to let you know, my lineup, where is my lineup? Here we go. Let's see here. I know we have Square, we have Roku, which Roku at one point, and Square, Roku had made it all the way to $300 and something dollars. We had bought in when that stock was like $60, went all the way up past 340, 350, somewhere around there. And then it had, as of today, shrunk back down into the 90s. Roku, Pfizer, we bought Pfizer believing that Pfizer was gonna blow up because of obviously they were with the COVID shots, the vaccines. Well, it didn't really jump up that much. I mean, yeah, we made a few thousand on it, but it didn't really do what we thought it should have been doing. Let's see, the other ones that we had, that we have, let's pull up here. Uber, which Uber is also down right now. Carnival is down. That one has been as high as $28. It's right now the closing price is at $14. It's actually under what we had bought the stock for. Microsoft is down a little, but it's still very good. It hasn't had a drop like the other ones have had. The other one, let's see, here we go. There was a stock that we got, Velatris, that we were given that stock because of something that happened with Pfizer. We didn't even pay. They gave us 12 shares. It's down right now, but it's made a little bit of money. GoDaddy isn't doing good right now. Microsoft, okay. Well, Microsoft is actually doing very good, but it's down. PayPal down. Uber down. AMC, we all know, people going back to the movies. We had recently bought that one, but it's down. Roku, Square, Pfizer, and Carnival Cruise. And then we have an oil stock that even though oil prices are way up, it's not really performing like you would think it would perform. As of today, we've made $2,600 because yesterday was like slam day. Even though, which is crazy, which we don't do this, but even though our stocks went down, they still give our stock value of $218,000, which is, crazy. But I believe something. I'm going to get to debt validation, but this is important too, because the lesson from this is that you have to stay, not get emotional regardless of what's happening in the economy. People make moves that are from emotions. A lot of people are pulling their money out from emotions. A lot of people are in trouble because they had margin. We don't play it on margins. We use our own money. So there's a lot of stuff that goes down. And one thing, I believe that the stock market is like a Ponzi scheme, but it's a Ponzi scheme that makes people pay up, that like closes out and makes it reset. Like so you will lose money and people will have to pay up and lose assets, which when in Ponzi schemes, there's usually nothing to get. So you have to remain calm. You have to just think out things. And if you really look at the way that the market performs, I would say that this is going to be a 1 to 2 year dip, possibly. And then it's going to just like fly all the way back up, because this is where people really do want to put their money. I mean, people talk about Bitcoin and all of that other stuff and NFTs and all that stuff. Those people are getting slammed right now. People have bought NFTs and they're like, I can't sell this. I'm supposed to hold on to this. I can't even sell it to get any money. Right now, if I wanted to sell, I would get my money. All right, let's talk about the debt validation. This is excellent information. It's debt collection rules, disclosures, the model validation notice itemization table. And this, I didn't call it this, but maybe I should come up with my own term. When I talked about doing debt validations with debt collectors, I've never just left it at show me the contract. I would take it a step further. And I do this in the court summons responses, and this is what we do in the debt validation. And a lot of people did not know that this is what you should do. It's like you should make them, and I'm just gonna tell you exactly what they stated here. It says an itemization date. This is a reference date that occurs on or before the date the validation notice is sent, and or which the debt collector can ascertain the amount of the debt. The itemized date is designed to reflect an event in the debt's history that the consumer may recognize. So when, at least the way that I've always done is I said, don't run from debt. Don't run from the collectors. You should confront them with asking for information that they have to have. If they purchase the debt and they have all of the information, it is not up to you to tell them about the debt. It's up to them to tell you about the debt. And what you should do is you should make them itemize everything. If you are claiming that I had all of these charges, if you are claiming this debt amount and you only have this one statement, I don't recall that. You need to give me everything. Now, it states right here from the Cfpb website, for itemizing a debt validation, this is what they must give you if you ask for it. If you don't ask for it, they could just go the old route. But if you ask for it and you tell them this is what I want an itemization of my interest that I paid. I've always talked about that. Give me a breakdown of the interest rate disclosure, the fees that were charged. And we're not talking about with the debt collector. We're talking about with the original creditor. Give me a breakdown of that. This information you have could be inaccurate. You don't even know because you didn't even ask for it, Mr. or Mrs. Debt Collector. The payments that I've made to that original creditor, give me all of the payments so I can reconcile that against what you're claiming I owe. Any credits that were, when I look at this is like exactly what been doing for all of these years. If you go back and look at my videos, even back from when I first started my YouTube channel, before it got popular, and you look at what I tell people to ask for, these things were right in there. These things. We're in 2022. This is the updated debt model, validation model for itemized debt validation or verification. This is what they're saying you have a right to ask for, and this is what I've always told people to ask for. So, to break it down, to review it, you have a right to get the original contract. You have a right to make them itemize all of the interest rates that were charged. I call it a disclosure of the interest rates because after 2008, the Dodd-Frank rule made where there's truth in lending, and they have to disclose any interest rate fees that they charged you, and it has to, for lack of a better word, jive with what they're claiming the payoff date was going to be for if you had a credit card or something. So if they say you had this interest rate charge and it's going to be a payoff date of 2025, that interest rate that they're charging you, that monthly payment that minimum monthly payment that they're charging you must equal the payoff on that date that they claim in 2025. A lot of people didn't know that before 2008 with the Dodd-Frank rule, that they didn't have to do that. They were lying all over across the board. That's why Santander got in trouble, because what they were doing is people were like, I'm paying on this car for 5 years and I still owe the same amount on this car or a little bit less on that car. That's because they were not telling the truth on the interest rate and the fees that were being charged. So now, when you do a debt validation, debt collector buys your debt, you want to make sure, give me the original contract. That's just basic original contract. Everybody knows that. But now I want you to give me a breakdown of the interest, disclosure of the interest charges. Give me a breakdown of all of the fees. You need to disclose that to me from the original creditor. Don't let them try to get mixed up and say, we didn't charge you any fees. We're not talking about the debt collector. We're talking about the original creditor. And then the breakdown of your payments to the original creditor. Give me a breakdown of all of the payments so I can reconcile them. And then the next thing is any credits that were given. Give me a breakdown. You want that document, all of those documents, so you can review them. And then you can get back with the debt collector and say, number one, you've proven everything, and then let's talk about negotiating a settlement. Or you didn't prove anything, you didn't provide anything, and you need to cease all collection activities. And if they were to try to take this to court, you've already done all of your homework. You would be able to just do your court response and say, I've given them the opportunity to give me this, 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 and this, and they haven't provided it, and I think that this should be dismissed. It's like you're ahead of the game rather than waiting on them to send you a court summons, and then you're catching up with the game. All right, I'm going to put the link to this below the video. If you need help with your credit, please visit us at thecreditrepairshop.com. Watch the video, What Makes Us Different, so you can see my 8-point validation process, my 2-phase settlement process. If you don't have your credit reports and scores, please go get your credit reports and scores at your3scores.com. www.your3scores.com. Links are below this video. If you have debt collectors coming after you, grab my statute of limitations letter, or quote time barred letter, which means that they can't come after you because it's past statute of limitations. And if you live in New York, they changed statute of limitation across the board to 3 years. It used to be 6 years. So you might have a debt right now that is now past the statute of limitations for them to even be able to collect if you live in New York. And then get my cease and desist collection activities letter and my debt validation letter, which goes into asking these questions right here. Links are below here for other services that I provide. Thank you for your time. This is Stephen A. Williams, president and founder of thecreditrepairshop.com.